So, this is Hogwarts Legacy. This is a game that kind of doesn't really need that much introduction considering the fact of how anticipated this game was. This game has been anticipated for quite a while now, ever since its initial, trailers and talks on how the game would be and all things like that. Because essentially this was going to be a game that a lot of people, with myself included, we've kind of been dreaming of since we were kids. The idea of this Harry Potter-esque game, wandering around Hogwarts, exploring the world, messing about with magic and all sorts of stuff. And the issue is that obviously with the past games, they were always relatively restricted in that regard. Mainly down for them being movie license games, because at the end of the day, back then, games had to be released roughly around the time when the films were to be released, which means that they often had very limited development windows, which means, the games themselves, while some of them were good, could have been more if they had more time to it. I myself have grown up with Harry Potter all my life. I've read all the books. In fact, Philosopher's Stone was the first book I ever read and got me into reading. And to this day, my love of reading, I thank very much to Philosopher's Stone. Watched all of the films, really enjoyed them, and played all the video games. So I've quite a assortment history when it comes down to Harry Potter. I might be a little bit biased when it comes down to this video because, at the end of the day, this is a game that I have been wanting for a long time. I've been wanting a game where I could do all the things in the Wizarding World that perhaps I couldn't have done before, because this time around, this game has no ties to Harry Potter in of itself. It's only connected at the fact that it's based in Hogwarts. I believe this is based about 100 or over 100 years before the events of Harry Potter, so there are no characters in this that are from these franchises at all. You will have characters in this that will be related to characters you may know, but you will not encounter any Harry Potter characters per se. But, that's perfectly fine. Like, it allows it to have a bit more freedom, gives itself its own identity. It's not adhering to any strict formula or strict layout of the story. It can completely do its own thing. And that's exactly what Avalanche Software has done here. Now, Avalanche Software, these guys should not be mistaken for the guys who did the Just Cause series. That's Avalanche Studios. Avalanche Software are the guys who originally were doing a lot of the Disney movie tie-in games. So things like Cars 2 and 3, Toy Story 3. I'd be very surprised if many of you have even played them. But they're probably most famous for the Disney Infinity games, which were those games that required those minifigures in order to be used to play. Eventually, that got run into the ground because Disney made like 3 of them and just kept shitting out toys left, right, and center. So that meant that they ended up not making money. So Disney kind of let Avalanche Software go. Very clearly, then they were picked up by Warner Brothers, and I don't know how exactly they feel with the fact that they've gone away from making licensed IPs to making yet another licensed IP, but I guess the caveat is the fact that this is different. It's not following a film or book or whatever. It's doing its own thing. So what I would say is, again, I guess it's not really much of a spoiler that I do enjoy this game. The game does have problems, and I will get into them, but for the most part, I do enjoy it. And I do feel that this is a type of game that maybe, if you're somebody that, say, didn't enjoy Harry Potter in terms of the characters and the story, but you may have enjoyed the world building, this is probably a game you might actually consider. But obviously, if you're the case that you just don't like anything about Harry Potter, if you don't like the world building, you don't like the lore or anything like that, this game is not going to do anything to change your mind, I feel. But what is it? So it's a RPG game, action RPG, and as you can see from over here, you can create your own characters. Now, I've got 2 characters at the moment. Richard McLean, who is currently level 20, and as you can see here, I've put in about 12 hours into the save. And I've got another character here for Slytherin, Mary Turner, who's only for 1 hour. There is a reason for this. This is just down for me just testing some things out in regards to the story. I won't go into much now, but I'll go into it when we actually get into the game. So yeah, as you can see, you create your own character and you play the game as whatever character you would like. So it's kind of a self-insert type of game. where, you know, you're trying to... You can choose to either have a character that represents you, or you can... Well, as you can see over here, you can make them look as a little bit goofy as possible. Well, mine's not like massively goofy, because while I did like the goggles and the top hat, I wanted to represent Hufflepuff. Because yeah, I chose Hufflepuff as my main playthrough, because I feel Hufflepuff is always massively underrepresented. And, you know, it gets shit on a lot. It doesn't get the love and attention I think it deserves. So I thought, screw it. My first playthrough, I'm going to play in Hufflepuff. There is a sorting hat system in order to get into these houses. It's a very simple system. You just answer one question. It gives you 4 answers. You pick the answer, and then it assigns you the house. What's really nice is you can actually back out. It's not a locked-in thing. So if you pick an answer, but you're like, oh, actually, I don't want to play that house, then you can back out, and you can just choose your house itself. I would have liked kind of like a random system, I think would be kind of cool, to be able to have the sorting hat just choose for you, but I guess it might have been a little bit more extra work for doing that. So as you can see, there's other extra character slots as well. I assume at the very least there's going to be 4, 1 for each house. In terms of the differences between the houses, to give a kind of a spoiler, there's not a huge lot of differences. I feel like it is just more aesthetic and more of a change in where you start, more than actually making massive differences in the story. So before we get into the game, I do want to show you the character customization. So we quickly go into here. So first thing, you're always greeted with this Hogwarts letter. It's basically, you know, you are welcome to the School of Hogwarts, Witchcraft and Wizardry, yada, yada, yada. And it's saying that you start as a 5th year. So yeah, so basically in this game, you transfer in as a 5th year. You have no prior schooling experience. You have done magic and you have been learning magic. It's just you haven't been doing it in an official wizarding school. And so personally, I think this is a really cool idea. It makes it so that you get really stuck into the world of Hogwarts and be able to really delve into all the characters and everything, as they all have a sorted history, rather than starting right from the beginning and, you know, just going through all of that meandering. And I mean, again, if you've played the original Harry Potter games, you're going to know a lot of how it plays out anyway. So I'm glad they decided to change it up and make it so you start a little bit later on in the game. So I'll press start here. So as you can see, you get like these little presets. You just get like these custom templates for where to start off in regards to customizing your character. There is quite a fair bit of variety here, but you know, you are a little bit restricted in certain aspects. I'm just going to pick this guy here just to give it a bit of a demonstration. So you have to select the preset. If you want to, you can go all the way to the end and just select the preset, but obviously if you want to try and customize it, you can go over here. There are different forms and shapes of the face. Unfortunately, it is quite limiting in the fact that there are no sliders for customizing the face, so nothing for like saying changing the shape and width of the nose, ears, mouth, chin, all that stuff. You just have these templates and you kind of just have to go with whatever. Skin color here, you can change your skin color however you want. Go all the way down here. So yeah, so you can change it however you want. I'll just leave it for there. You can also choose glasses if you want to, but the thing is, the game has a gear system, and glasses is one of the main gear items in the game. So, I mean, you're going to be changing this a lot anyway, so I think this is just kind of pointless, but I feel that a lot of people are probably going to start playing this and trying to make Harry Potter when they go in. So there you go. You get the circle-rimmed glasses if you want to make a Harry Potter character. You can go over to hairstyles. Once again, there's a fair bit of options, but it is still, in a way, restricted. You don't get, like, a huge variety of things. You know, it's... If you want as well, if you want to, you can have a male face and have, like, kind of more feminine hairstyles and things like that. And, you know, just a whole array of hairstyles really for you. So, yeah. It's alright. It's okay. And then you can also just change your color of your hair. Over here, it's more like the natural hairstyles, but over here, then it's more of like the more funky hairstyles. Yeah, sure, you can have purple. You can also choose your complexion. All this stuff. Yeah, fine, whatever. And then freckles and moles, again, just, it's fine. It's nothing major. It's, again, quite limiting. And you can also choose scars if you want. Some of these are a little bit interesting. Some of these are just kind of more generic. This one I find to be the most weird. I don't know. This one kind of just freaks me out a bit. In regards to eyes, you can change your eye color. Again, over here is more of the natural side of things, whereas if you start going over here, you're starting to get a bit more of the funky eye colors. Also changing your eyebrow. One thing I found weird is that normally when you come down to customizing your characters, they often have a, match the color of your eyebrows to your hair system, but they don't have it here. So, I don't know. I think that's just a bit missed opportunity. I just like it when customization screens kind of have that, but there you go. I found the eyebrows, so there you go. He's got proper violet hair and eyebrows, and you can also just change certain aspects of the eyebrows. So yeah, I think, again, the customizations is quite limited. It's not massive. It's not, like, very basic, but I think they could have done more with it, especially since, again, I feel this is a very self-insert type of game. You would have expected the character customization screen to be a lot more detailed than what it actually ended up being. So over here, you can choose your voice. Again, if you are picking a male character, you can change the voice.
I'm eager to get to Hogsmeade.
Like that.
I am indeed a student, but I could very well be able to help you.
Cool. And then there's this. Now, this is something I wanted to talk about, and I think a lot of people have also mentioned about this as well. It's a kind of a weird thing that's gone on with the game. If you can have a look with the pitch. So I'm currently on normal right now, so let's pitch it a little lower.
That was quite something.
I don't know if you could hear that properly. I don't know how it's going to come out in the video, but the voice is a lot more robotic and tinny. I'll try again with over here.
A few cobwebs and some dust. Nothing to be concerned about. I'm eager to get to Hogsmeade.
And even applies over here as well.
Cobwebs and some dust. Nothing to be concerned about. I'm eager to get to Hogsmeade.
There you go. So yeah, there's something weird regarding the pitch. It's almost like it's been AI generated, the pitching. And because of that, it makes the voice sound extremely robotic. And I've heard some people say it's potentially a bug, but I'm not too sure. Again, it's a very weird system, and it just makes it so that it's like, why would I ever choose any of these other things to sound very robotic-y? Maybe, again, if you just want to make a really stupid character, I guess you can try and make it like a very weirdly pitched character, but yeah, I think this is just a problem. This just doesn't work, and that's just very odd to have in a game. Then you've also got your difficulty. Now, personally, if you're somebody who is into action games at all, especially action RPGs, I would highly recommend putting this on hard. I feel the combat is very easy, and as I said, I will try to demonstrate and talk more about the combat when we get in the game, but I would personally recommend starting this game on hard. I think normal is a bit too easy, and then God knows how easy in story is actually going to be. Because in fact, I know story mode's here for people who are like either brand new to games or just not very comfortable with using a controller or something. But I feel that because the game is so easy, that maybe even just starting on easy itself might be better for you, but that's just my opinion on that. And then you can choose your the name of your character. You have to display a first name and last name, and you can, again, also change if you want. So even though I've made a male character, I can make them a witch if I so desire. And that's it. That's really all it is to the character customization. I could then start the journey, but then I'll just start the campaign, which I don't want to do. So, as I said, it's a little bit lackluster. It has some variety in it, but it could have been more, I feel. I feel there could have been way more detail put into it. So anyways, without further ado, let's jump into my current save here. Just to let you know that this is a first impressions, not a review. I am in the first 12 hours of the game. Also as well, because of how the game is, where I'm at 12 hours is completely different to how anyone else will be at 12 hours. But I am relatively early on in the game. I did a lot of exploring and not a lot of main quests. So that's why, even though I'm 12 hours in, I'm not very far into the game. However, I have, tested a lot of the mechanics and all things like that, which is why I'm doing the first impressions. So in this video, I will only be exploring around Hogwarts and, if possible, just doing side quests. No main quest will be displayed in the video to avoid any form of spoilers. Okay. Now, let's continue. So loading times in this game are relatively quick. They are quite a few in the game, which is a little bit disappointing with the next-gen game, but, there's only so much that you can do, really, I feel. So yeah, so this is the Hufflepuff dormitory. Looks quite nice. As I said, the game itself looks really nice as well. I feel like a lot of the textures are very high quality. The game looks proper next gen.
Handy resource indeed, your field guide. I'm most pleased to be included.
Look, so this is the flu powder. This is your fast travel. This is how you fast travel around the game. I'll show that in a little bit. It's the most annoying system in the game. She doesn't shut up. Every time you walk past it, she just always talks. She's the most annoying fast travel system I've ever seen. So yeah, this is the Hufflepuff Dormitory. As I said, it looks very nice. Even though I'm playing this game on performance mode, I think the textures and quality of it all are really good. In fact, I think even like switching out of performance mode doesn't really change it all that much. I think if that's the case, then we might as well just talk about the settings for now. So we head over to the settings here. So I am playing this on PS5. The reason why I'm playing this on PS5 and not on PC is because I heard beforehand that apparently there were going to be issues regarding the performance, and based on the release of the game, I can see that definitely is the case. Now, I'm currently recording this after the release of Hogwarts Legacy, because I was wondering if there was going to be a form of day one patch, because I pre-ordered the deluxe edition of the game. So I played 72 hours prior, so I've had a lot of early access to it beforehand. But before I did this video, I wanted to see if there was any form of day one patch to come out regarding the performance, and unfortunately not. There hasn't been anything to come out regarding trying to fix the performance, and it is an issue on both PS5 and on PC. To talk about that as well, so as I said, I'm on performance mode, but I do get a lot of dips within the game. I'll try and see if I can like replicate those dips when I'm running around Hogwarts. But yeah, Hogwarts is definitely the worst offender for performance. There are other areas outside of Hogwarts, but Hogwarts itself really does go out of its way to tank performance. I'm constantly getting dips below 60. And apparently it's even worse on PC as well. People are literally going down into single-digit figures as soon as they enter Hogwarts, and it's just really bad overall, especially on more higher-end cards. Apparently, it's kind of a CPU-bound issue, which is what's causing a lot of the performance issues. So that's something you may want to consider if you are like still on the fence about buying the game. There is a video by Daniel Owen who did a really good analysis of the performance, and I'll link his video in the description because I think it's a very important video to check out, again, if you're considering getting this game on PC. So you got a few options here. You got performance, fidelity with ray tracing, or just normal fidelity. If I switch this fidelity, I'll just show you now. So as I said, it doesn't look all that different, but if you can see here, can you just see the performance? Oh my god, the performance is awful. I wonder if it's it might have changed the cap. Bear with. It is. Turn that off. That's why. Yeah, that's a thing. It likes to keep the but yeah, it's stuttery. I'm getting a lot of screen tearing. And yeah, the performance is absolutely terrible. In my eyes, the game is unplayable on fidelity and has to be put on performance mode. Oops. Do not reboot. I didn't mean to put this on performance. There we go. Yeah, the game is unplayable outside of performance mode. Like right now, this is currently on 60, but as I said, there will be moments I will definitely start dipping below that. But in regards to looking at the textures and everything, yeah, performance mode is the only way to play this game. If you like playing games at 30 FPS or lower than 60, then I guess go for it. But for me, I really like to play my games at 60, so yeah, I'm going to stick to performance mode for the time being. And again, I don't think there's a lot of difference in regards to the quality, to the textures and all things like that. I feel that there isn't a huge difference. And, you know, for that, suffering a slight worse looking textures and stuff for better performance, then yeah, I'm going to take that every single day. Interact with the little globe there. So in regards to the other settings here, again, not as important on consoles as it is on PC to look at settings, but I thought it was just important anyway. You got all these options that I've turned off because I always think these are all bloody useless. Audio has full audio sliders, including the pitch, but I don't know why you put that on. You can mute the audio if you want, display the subtitles, mono audio, and also you can choose your audio configuration. I've obviously put it on headphones because that's what I got in. In regards to your gameplay options, you can choose the difficulty on the fly. I was playing this game on normal and I switched it to hard for the reasons I mentioned. Vibration I turned off because I encountered a bug where after I had combat, the game was still registering me as being hit, so my controller was just continuously vibrating, so I had to turn this off in order to stop that from happening. Motion sensor function is in regards to your broom flying, so if you want to try that, I guess, but I don't see why you would. Invert the camera controls, invert the flight controls. I'm very happy they didn't. So many games invert it, and I'd much rather they don't. So it's just very nice for it to be default off. camera relative targeting. So this is just in regards to instead of aiming with L2, you can just use the camera to aim itself. It's such a useful function. It's honestly great. I love this feature, and honestly, I feel the game is a lot better and smoother because of this feature. And then you got a bunch of sliders regarding sensitivity, camera acceleration, and all things like that. You got your control display here. Unfortunately, you are not able to change your controller mapping at all. You get what the game's given to you, which I always find a bit disappointing. I do like it when games go out of their way to allow you to change the controls, but it is what it is. You're stuck with it. And then you got the accessibility options here, where you can have the menu reader, camera shake, colorblind mode, and then you can toggle aim, toggle spellcast, switch your sticks left-handed, camera dead zone cursor, sensitivity, you got audio visualizer. There's a lot here. There's a lot of things to mess around with, and games nowadays are starting to get way more into the accessibility side of things, which is always a fantastic thing to see. So that's really cool to see. The one annoying thing, the one setting that's missing that I absolutely hate, is the game uses adaptive triggers on the PlayStation controller, so especially when I'm using the launch here. And if you don't know what it is, adaptive triggers is, well, the best way to describe it, it's a way to like kind of mimic like hard emotions. So it stops it. It stops it at a certain point, and then you got to really push it down in order to, you know, well, fully have it down. I personally do not like adaptive triggers. I think they're one of the worst features of the game. I've yet to find a game that I've generally enjoyed adaptive triggers, and especially when you're playing this game. Essentially, you're doing this for most of the time, which is just pressing R2. So you're spamming it a lot, and if you want to press it down like a normal R2 function, well, you're constantly fighting. It feels like you're constantly fighting the R2 button, and that's what makes it really annoying. And then at the end of combat, you're feeling like your fingers just had a whole workout. So, I mean, I can lightly tap R2, but it's just very weird to do. It's just not something that you're just used to doing. Because the thing is, the reason why they got the adaptive triggers is because they want me to slightly hold it down, so then I can activate the spells on the bottom right there. But, you know, I would much rather just be able to just shoot it. So I don't know why the setting isn't there. It's really annoying that I'm forced to use adaptive triggers. I would really like a setting to be able to turn that off. But yeah, so that's my rant out of the settings out of the way. I said we'll have a look around Hogwarts itself. Yeah, as I said, it looks quite nice. I know at the moment we're just seeing like a bunch of bricks and stuff because I'm just coming out of the Hufflepuff common room, because Hufflepuff gets screwed over a lot. I mean, they're in a bloody vinegar area. Right, so as I said, there's the fast travel here. Always talks. And right now, we are currently just walking around the grand staircase. Now, currently, I believe it's quiet right now because it's nighttime. And during the night, you're actually not meant to be walking around. It's kind of similar to like some of the older Harry Potter games where the prefects are wandering about and you're kind of having some more stealth. I'm going to see if I can actually change. I don't know if I can change the day and night. I don't know if I go to my dorm, can I actually change the sense? I've never really had to do it because I've kind of just been progressing through the story as much as I can. I'm just going to see if I can. Open that up. Let's see. I think my dorm is the one right in front directly. But I wonder if I can sleep. I don't know. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't change the day and night. Which is going to be a bit annoying, because I want to talk about some stuff regarding the AI and things, and it's going to be annoying trying to navigate Hogwarts if it's nighttime. Okay. So yeah, I don't think there's a way for me to sleep, unless I'm completely missing what my dorm is, but I'm pretty sure this is the dorm. No, this isn't the dorm because it's got a centaur thing going on. Is there a way to change it in the options menu? There isn't. Oh well. Right, so while we are potentially waiting for the game to go into day, let's show you the map. So this is the whole map of Hogwarts. As I said, everywhere can be explored, and we will run around Hogwarts in a bit. But yeah, everything is explorable around Hogwarts. It's fantastic to do. Avalanche have definitely gone out of the way to mix and match it in terms of making it a original styling of Hogwarts while also having their own twist and spin to it. And as I said, Hogwarts is pretty big, so they do have a lot of the fast travel areas here. So you can either choose the flags manually if you so desire, or you can scroll along the locations here. So if I wanted to click, say, the bell tower wing, and then I can choose where I want to go. So right here, this is showing us a side quest. So if I wanted to, I could say go to the flying class lawn, and then I can go to the side quest. What is this anyway? Summoner's Court Match 1. Summoner's Court is popular. Hogwarts students often gather near the board looking for new opponents to challenge. As one would imagine, the competition among the house is fierce. And feared Natty and Leander Pruitt. Don't show that I'm capable of competitor. I am unsure what that is. Might be able to do it. Don't know. But as I said, one of the cool things as well is that the map is 3D, which is awesome. So you're able to spin this around as much as you want. You can have a little look. You can see the whole layout of Hogwarts in of itself as you're doing around the map. The map is great, and especially when you go to the world. So yeah, it's not just Hogwarts that you're going to be dealing with. You're going to be dealing with a lot of the area. I'm trying to zoom out as much as possible. As you can see, there's a bunch of regions here. And it actually goes all the way down here. So it's a pretty big world. It's basically open world. I wasn't expecting it to be open world. I thought it was mainly going to be Hogwarts and Hogsmeade. So yeah, you are able to just travel to Hogsmeade. And by the way, there's no like gimmick. There's nothing you have to do to like get there in terms of like loading time or anything. You can just walk there. It's fantastic. Everywhere here is accessible by foot or by flight. I think it's a really well-designed area so far. I also like how it's a bit lively as well. Like the dragon flying around here is also really neat. It's just, you know, little details like this help make the game. And so it does have kind of its open world affair. There's a lot of icons about for you to travel around, and there is just a huge area to explore. There are fast travel points all around, which is great, so you don't have to just keep going by foot or by flight. As I said, as you can clearly see, there's a lot here that I have not even begun to discover yet. I've mainly just been dealing with all the north side of things yet, because, again, kind of the beginning of the game, I don't expect them to want you to essentially explore the whole area straight away. But I like the fact that it is not fully filled out. Like, they easily could have just done the entire map. Like, this whole map section could have been filled out, and it could have just been filled with loads of fluff and filler, and it's kind of the thing I normally hate with open world games with just too much stuff in it. But Hogwarts Legacy definitely feels like it has kind of just the right amount of stuff. It feels like it is purposely designed in a way to be filled out, to not be, you know, over encumbering and having way too much in it. So as I said, let's see, where do we want to go? I will just have to explore anyway. If we get caught by the prefects, we get caught by the prefects. So, yeah. So, it's a mix. The game itself is a mix of exploration and combat. And as I said, RPG is a main element of it. You can interact with little things here like this. I can just munch on an apple. Does absolutely nothing. It's just a fun little thing to munch on. I don't know where I got stuck on there. And for the most part, you can essentially go almost anywhere in Hogwarts around here. There are some doors that are locked, and it's down to you needing to activate the Alohomora spell. But, you know, for the most part, what I found the most fascinating about this game is that if there's a door, you can go through it. And I don't know how many games there are that actually do that. The amount of time, how surprised I always am with the amount of times, like, you play any game and there are so many doors that are available. You never can go through them. But Hogwarts Legacy says, nah, if you see a door, you go through it. One other thing to note as well is in regards to puzzles. There are puzzles shown all around Hogwarts. This is one of them. This is probably my favorite one because it actually considers like a little bit of thought. So essentially this is a maths puzzle. And the symbols here correlate to a number. So from left all the way to right, it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way up to 9. So, for example, here with the 1 question mark, it's 4 plus 2, which is 6, which means it's 0. So it's going to be this little, I don't even know what that is. Is that an owl? I think so. And then you've got this one here, which is 11. So what, 5, 6, so 5, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the crab-looking thing. So because it's a double question mark, I need to find where that double question mark symbol is. I did see it earlier. Maybe was it down here? It was. Okay. And I just need to remember it was the crab. There we go. So with that then you choose those two options. You run up here. And then that should open the door. Ta-da! Puzzle done. As I said, I like this puzzle because while, once you figured out what it is, it's, kind of the same. At the very least, it's constantly making you think and constantly giving you, something to do mentally rather than just a brain-dead puzzle. So right there, I just obtained a piece of gear. So let's talk about the gear system. I have mixed feelings about the gear system. For one thing, it's very much like, kind of like your typical gear type of game. For example, it's got your rarities, green, blue, purple, orange being the best oftentimes. It's got all that type of stuff. It's kind of like a very Destiny-esque system. Let me just get out of the way the negative. The fact that it's limited. Gear is limited in this game. So as you can see here, I only have currently 24 gear slots. You can upgrade the gear slots, but it's requiring you to travel around the world and take part in these puzzles, in which some of them you're not going to have access to the magic at the time. So you can start a puzzle because you actually have to use a form of item to start it, which are limited, and there is a potential you may not have the magic spell you need in order to do the puzzle. So you can, pay the amount of what it needs, the item, and you might not even be able to do it, which is really frustrating. But then this is annoying as well because it makes the whole game quite finicky. So the only ways to get rid of the slots is either by going to a vendor and selling them, or just flat out destroying them. But obviously destroying them is useless because destroying them actually does nothing. It doesn't give you anything in return. So destroying them is a waste of gold, whereas obviously selling them, you get gold. So there are often times where the game, you'll be playing a level and it'll just throw a bunch of gear at you. And you're basically coming towards the end. And if you then end up starting another mission, you're basically then just playing a game of pick up a piece of gear, destroy a gear, pick up a piece of gear, destroy a gear. And it's just doing that over and over again. And it's just very tedious. And obviously, if you try to pick up a piece of gear and the item's full, it's just going to go, well, no, you can't have that. It's full. In fact, I actually got screwed over with this. I actually encountered a bug where there is a chest in the herbology class. And I attempted to open it. I didn't realize my gear slots were full, and it didn't accept me having it because it said, oh, your gear slot's full. So I went, okay, I disenchanted one of the gears, and then the chest was classed as open, which meant the gear that I got, what I would have gotten, vanished. It didn't exist anymore. So I lost a piece of gear because of this system, and I wasn't able to get that gear. Now, granted, it's at the beginning of the game, it's not like a huge importance, but it's still very annoying to encounter that I lost a piece of gear because of this weird system. So that's kind of my negative thoughts on it. Again, I don't like the fact it's limited. I don't like, it's just kind of like a very generic system, especially since, for the most part, it's just very, oh, it's got better offense. Oh, it's got better defense. Now, there are items that I have encountered that will add traits. So it will be things like, say, you do more damage to this particular enemy, or you will gain more defense, or you gain more health, and that type of stuff. But I haven't encountered them as of yet. So I won't be too harsh on that side of things, because I assume later on in the game, there will probably be more gear I will obtain that will have those type of traits, which will, enable me to have kind of more freedom and flexibility with choosing my gear. And there's a lot that you can kind of customize here. So you got your gloves, as I said, the glasses, your head, so any hats, scarves, robe, and your outfit. As well as the fact that you can also acquire your wand handle. But I personally think this is really pointless, considering the fact that your character... Well, let me show you. Your character holds the wand most of the time. So you can... I mean, if you really put your camera to it, if my own character's even trying to stop me from seeing it. Like, you rarely see the handle, if at all. Like, you can see the ends of your wand, but you can't see the handle, and I just feel like the customization is just kind of worthless. You can't see it anyway. And obviously when you're in combat, you're not looking at your wand, really. So, yeah, I just think the wand handle customization is pointless, but, I mean, you can do it if you want. Oop, went in the wrong area. So yeah, the one handle, whatever. But the actual clothing items is a lot of fun to mess around with. One massive positive that I can give to it is the fact there's a transmog system right from the get-go. Like, holy crap, that's amazing. There's so many times where games will have these gear systems and they like to hold the transmog system like almost hostage or have like weird gimmicks in order to get it. It's nice when the game's out right from the get-go. Okay, you want to make your character look like how they want? Go for it. There's no restrictions. The only real restriction is that you have to unlock that piece of gear first to unlock that transmog. So you don't get access to everything straight away. You have to find that piece of gear and then you unlock the transmog. But the brilliant thing is that once you sell, even if you sell that gear, it's in your transmog permanently. So that's why, you know, for example, I've only got these two gloves, but I've got like this weird red glove here that doesn't match anything showing here. Oh, I also forgot I do have a trade slot here. Decreased damage taken from trolls, which I haven't encountered a lot of trolls yet, so I don't really need that glove at the moment, especially for the, what was it? I lose 4 defense. Yeah. But yeah, so it's great. So if I press square, as you see, I got a whole list here. I absolutely love these goggles. I've literally just not done anything else but play with these goggles. I've got 2 of them for some reason. Oh, one's the orange eye of Newt, and one's the brown eye of Newt, but there's literally no difference in the appearance. Odd. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch of things you can do here. I mean, I got a little asylum mask if I want to look like a psycho. Got a little mermaid mask. This, I believe, is part of the pre-order, the dark arts thing. And as I said, you can just like customize other form of glasses. This is why I was saying earlier in the character customization screen that the glasses are kind of pointless. Because, I mean, you got all of these to mess around with, so yeah. And you got like massively goofy ones like these ones, which are kind of fun. So yeah, as I said, you do have complete freedom of making your character as serious or as goofy as possible. There's also cloaks here. I wanted to represent Hufflepuff, so I was wearing that, but if I wanted to, I can just mess around with all these cloaks. I can even wear knight armor. Is a thing in the game, which is weird. But yeah, so I wanted to represent Hufflepuff. Yeah, I'll keep that. What else? And then the outfits as well. There's a whole array of outfits for you to choose from. So right now I'm just currently wearing the legendary armored attire. But yeah, so it's nice, and I like the fact that they give you that option to transmog it all at all. So if you're ever picking a piece of gear that's like objectively better stats wise, and you don't like how it looks, then thankfully the game does allow you to transmog it. You're not forced to wear a whole bunch of stuff that you don't like just because the stats are better. So that's always very appreciated. In regards to the broom, there is a bunch of stuff here, but I've only recently unlocked the broom, which I can show in a bit. But I don't know how far this customization goes. I got given an upgrade through a quest. So that's really about it. So yeah, that's the gear system. As I said, you're really just upgrading your health, your defense, and offense. There's nothing a lot else to it. There's no like extra abilities or stuff you get with it, or like you know things like how elements normally come into play regards to these armor. It's just simple stats essentially. Okay, so there's that. There's the puzzle. There's other puzzles as well. This one's a very weird one. It's essentially slapping a key into the keyhole. It's very weird. Over here is the points. How are we doing on points? Gryffindor's doing alright. I think Hufflepuff is winning. Yeah, boy. Ravenclaw has stuff in the bottom. Oh no, Ravenclaw's actually doing really well. Think? Is that right? Because of them going down like that? I know it's like it's not displaying here, but... yeah, because the Ravenclaw's got a bunch of shit there and so does Slytherin. I don't know. That's very hard to tell. So with this, this is going to be something that looks familiar. Oh yeah, this one is also another puzzle. You can, hang on, let me change my abilities. Lumos. So this shows you an area of where this moth thing is going to be. So I know where that is. That is right at the front over here. So yeah, this is a very famous part of Hogwarts, the Grand Hall. I think it's a bit small, on the smaller end. Scale-wise, I swear it normally is bigger, but oh well. It looks good. You can tell what it is straight away. And obviously this is quite famous as well. Dumbledore on it a lot. Now I heard the little twinkle. Where the hell was it? Somewhere around here there should be a moth. Where'd the moth go? There it is. Alright, you come with me. So this puzzle is also just very simple. You grab the moth, you bring it over, and then you unactivate Lumos, and then it goes in. And then, da-da! I get a page. Field guide page. So what are these? So field guide pages are kind of just achievements of finding noticeable areas of Hogwarts. And getting them will allow you to have XP. So in regards to the XP, it allows you then to have talent points. Now it's funny story with this. So the game heavily encourages exploration. Because I said getting those field pages are going to net you quite a lot of XP, by the way. The main ways of getting XP is exploring, quests, and combat. Now, combat actually doesn't give you a whole lot of XP. I think it's actually the lowest amount of XP you get from the game. However, in regards to exploration, such as collecting the field guides, and in regards to the quest, it gives you quite a lot of XP. But what's really great about it is, again, it really encourages you to explore, because the more you explore, the more you're going to level up. And what's funny is that I ended up massively over-leveling myself. It feels like it's a very easy thing to do in this game. For example, I got to about level 17 when I even unlocked any of this. So I went through 17 levels before I even had access to the talent tree. And most RPG games, you're getting access to the talent tree like almost immediately. Whereas this game, because again, it's perfectly fine with you just going off and exploring. It gives you such complete freedom to do what you want for the exploration side of things, that it just enabled me to just level up and level up and level up. And then it got to the point where I could just, I was massively over-leveled. But there are good points of that. They do address that. So, for example, in regards to the gear system, everything scales. I think they have predicted that you could potentially get over-leveled. So, for example, with gear, what I found, especially through testing, is that when you do puzzles, oftentimes the gear is going to be scaled to your level. Now, for example, this is a level 20 robe. This is what we picked up earlier when I did the puzzle. Now, if I did that puzzle when on my Slytherin character, who's level 6, I think it was, then the gear that would pop up would be roughly around about level 6. So it is kind of like a catch-22. So on the one hand, it's great because it means that when you're exploring, you've got very high chances of getting very good loot from it scaling with your level, especially if you leave those puzzles. If you leave those puzzles till well later on in the game, you're probably going to get some pretty decent loot. However, it does then kind of punish you for actually exploring it too early, because if you do it too early, you're going to get very low-level loot, which means that, over time, you're going to get better loot anyway. So when you're doing the puzzles, you're actually kind of doing a bit of a detriment to yourself, where you're actually limiting yourself in regards to what type of gear you could potentially earn. There's also one other thing to quickly point out is these question mark gears. I'll go through them. I'll show you what they're about anyway. But also in regards to level scaling is the enemies. Enemies level scale with you, thankfully, so you're not going to be in a position where, even though, for example, I was doing a level 4 mission, or it said I need to be level 4 to do it, and I was level 20, or level 18 odd, the enemies themselves do scale with my level, so you're not in a position where you're just going to over-level and then stomp enemies. Again, it does seem like the developers have worked this out, and they have addressed this, and I think it was a very good system that they've implemented, especially with the gear as well. So yeah, a lot of things scale in regards to your levels, so you don't need to worry much about over-leveling, because the game will do itself to try and balance it out for you. In fact, there are even some side quests that get scaled, I believe. If I go to quests here, you see I got a lot. There is a lot of side quests in this game. I think there's like over 100 side quests, because I believe the game is meant to be about 35 to 40 hours if you just do the game, and roughly between 70 to 100, I think. hours if you try to do everything is roughly the hours that I've seen. So it's a very long game, and I can already see, I mean, like, again, I'm quite not far in. I'm still like roughly around about the beginning levels, and I've already got like this many side quests, and you probably saw earlier on the map actually displayed these symbols, so there are way more side quests to even look at. But the main thing I wanted to point out was things like this. Brother's Keeper. This is a level 17 suggested mission, and I got this during the time when I was doing like a level 6 required quest. It was in around that area where I picked it up. I don't believe for a second that this was a level 17 mission. I believe this quest has scaled with my level, because especially when you look at like this, right? This is like roughly around about the beginning, and this was a level 2. I don't know if this is scaled or not, because it might not be. It's just a bit weird, again, because the area that I was in doesn't feel like it should have been a level 17 mission, but I don't know. So there are also these missions here. So this is how you acquire your spells. And in order to acquire spells, you got to do little tasks or little challenges for the teachers. So, for example, here I need to acquire and use a focus potion, and then acquire Maxima and Endurance potion and use them simultaneously. And for that, then I get taught Depulso. And then, you know, things like this, where I'll learn Glacius, Wingardium Leviosa, Descendo. So these things here, these are all about just acquiring more spells, and this is how you do it. It's just basically just doing like little tasks to try to just get yourself more powerful, give yourself better kit for later on in the game. And there are also level locked quests, and they often require those type of spells. So for example, this wants me to have Depulso, which means at some point in the mission, Depulso will need to be used. So that means that I need to do Professor Sharp's quest at least in order to progress in the story. And so it avoids you just, you know, getting stuck, losing out on, you know, on a mission where you feel like you waste your time. So like, oh shit, I actually don't have this spell, I'm going to have to go back. It does lock it off for you, say, hey, look, you need this before you carry on. So it avoids like any of those problems. And there's a list here. This is basically just to tell you what quest you need to do in order to complete it, ready to move on in the story. So yeah, it's pretty decent. It's pretty well organized. And speaking of those spells, we head over to the talents. I said this is the talent tree, and there's a bunch of stuff that you can go into. I think I heard that it is limited, so I don't believe that you actually can get everything, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So you can level up things like here, like my core abilities. So my basic cast cooldowns are reduced. I can throw weapons when I disarm them. Successfully block attacks. Again, we'll go through all of that. There's a bunch of stuff here that you can get. What I really love is that with these, it's not really a skill tree, which is something I quite appreciate. I personally am not the biggest fan of skill trees, because oftentimes they're very lazily done, and it ends and you just unlock everything anyway, and it just feels the tree's almost pointless. So I like that they've kind of done away with that and gone for a more baseline approach. So instead of having skill trees, it's now simply you just need to be this level, and then you can lock whatever ability in that level that you want. And obviously it tries to lock off like kind of the more powerful spells a little bit later on, and that's perfectly fine. So for example, say I wanted this one, Stupefy Mastery. Enemies struck with Stupefy remain stunned for a longer period of time. Well, with this below it, it doesn't mean I have to unlock this, to unlock this, to unlock this, and then I can get this. It's just a simple case. As long as I'm on the level, I can just unlock this straight away. I really like this. I think this is a really good system. And there's a bunch of stuff that you can change. Core is obviously the most important one, because you have access to a lot of your more important abilities and you can start upgrading them. In regards to spells, these are just upgrading the spells themselves to try and make them more powerful or more useful. So like here, Accio, a very important spell when you're like bringing an enemy in. Before I could only pull in one, but now I've upgraded it, so now I can pull in 3 targets, which is a lot better. Stealth is a feature in this game where you just make yourself invisible like that, and you can actually do stun moves. It's fine. The stealth is very easy in this game. Enemies are able to detect you. You're not like completely stealth. It's not like you're completely invisible, especially when you start upgrading certain aspects, like enemies' ability to detect you is reduced and so forth. It's fine. It's a very easy system. Stealth is, Yeah, very easy. One thing I don't understand, though, is things like... So enemies' ability to detect you is reduced, and this is Sorcery 2. Sense of Secrecy 2, sorry. And I don't know if it means that... Does this mean automatically this is like a higher percentage, or do they stack? Am I, you know, hurting myself by not getting Secrecy 1? Does it matter that I've skipped Secrecy 1 to get Secrecy 2? I really don't understand. There's no, like, statistic to tell me what exactly it's doing. So I just have to only guess, really, of what exactly is going on. But yeah, so there's a lot that you can upgrade here. Now, Dark Arts is... It's more for your evil playthrough, I believe. This is like you're using curses, you're using ways of killing enemies as fast as possible. Obviously, over here, you eventually can get to the Avada Kedavra curse and do things with that. Yeah, this is one that I feel is more for like an evil playthrough system, so, you know, you can do that if you want, but I'm not going for evil playthrough. I'm going for nice, good student playthrough, so I'm just going to avoid that for the time being. And then there's also the room requirement upgrade system as well. The room requirement being quite a prominent part of the game. That's the skill tree. That's just how all that works. Now, don't tell me what to do, knight. Let's see. I think we could try to open up the room requirement. Okay, so that's the thing that I was talking about. So you probably didn't notice there. I don't know if you did. There was a little circle on the door, which is why I wasn't able to get out straight away, and that's because the game's loading. I feel that for a next-gen game, especially with a game like this, that you would have expected that they would have kind of sorted that issue out. I know it's a big area, but, you know, it really breaks the flow of the game, especially when you're, like, wandering around Hogwarts, and then all of a sudden you're just stuck on the door, and then you can't move, and then you have to wait, and then you gotta move, and yeah, it just kind of kills the whole flow of the game. It's a bit of a nitpick, but I feel like it could be done better. You know, maybe improvements on the load time at the very least. Like, it's quick, but it could be quicker. It's a shame that it is there. It would have been nice if it was more, you know, more flowing and able to access these areas loading screen free. But, you know, that's mostly we can really do. I think because we're outside, again, since it's nighttime, I might as well do this. So if I hold L1 and press circle, I can just access my broom wherever I want. There are certain areas of the game where you can't do it, especially if you're like inside Hogwarts and all that stuff. But, you know, now that I'm out and about here, yeah, I've got complete freedom. Also, the adaptive triggers are back on this and they're really annoying. I hate them to fly around. The flying in this game is a lot of fun. It's very easy to use. You just use the right stick to go up and down and look around, and then use the left stick to actually steer. And you can go wherever you want. As I said, like, it's, you know, obviously I can't like go inside Hogwarts, but I can fly around Hogwarts if I want. I can head over to the Hogwarts Quidditch pitch. Unfortunately, Quidditch is not part of this game. I don't know why they just didn't make it a part of the game, which is a little bit annoying. Is the Summoner's Court. That's the thing that we were looking at earlier. Fuck it, we'll fly over to the Quidditch pitch. So yeah, this is the famous Quidditch pitch. As I said, you're not playing Quidditch in this game. It's just not in it at all. Don't know why. Maybe they want to try and do a... I'm flying through these balloons. Maybe they're trying to do a Quidditch World Cup game, a second one this time around. But yeah, it's nice to have like this little freedom. Again, this is like what I was talking about with the aspect of... This is kind of the game everyone really wanted. I mean, how many of you wanted to just get on a broomstick and just fly around the whole area to explore the world and explore the whole of Hogwarts? Like, just out of the blue. Like, no linearity, no like, oh, you're doing this because the game told you to, but just outright, oh, I can just go on this broom wherever I want. It's such like a no-duh type of thing that it's amazing that it really hasn't been done until now. And it's so good. It's so much fun to do, to be able to just fly around however you want. I got all those balloons. Fuck those balloons. As I said, you get XP for like almost everything in this game. Any form of exploration, any form of side quest, you get those XP. It just really rewards you for all the exploration and stuff, and that's brilliant, especially for a game that is so, you know, so exploratory focused. It's nice that it does reward you in such a way. Now, what I want to do is, I think I want to try and get into some combat, if I can. So, let's see. No, oops, what am I doing? Not the settings. Can I autopilot that? Got a map. I don't know your map. we go. I just want to see this one that will outright we know will be a fighty one. There we go. Clear the goblin encampment. That will work. Breaking camp. Of course. It's level 2, the mission. I want to see if my theory is correct regarding the scalability. Now, I can fast travel to this area, but I'm not. I'm going to fly over there to kind of like show you with it. But like, look at it. Like, the graphical fidelity of this game is brilliant. The view distance is pretty great. You can see quite far and wide. It's very beautiful in terms of its scenery. It's very colorful. It's a very nice looking game. And as I say, like, flying around it is awesome. Let's have a look at the skybox. How high can you go? I don't think you can go massively high. I'd be surprised how high you can go. Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay. So it's actually stopped me at this point. Is it the whole area? It is. Oh, it's because I'm by Hogsmeade. You can't fly over Hogsmeade. Okay. Well, I guess I'm not fully free for it. All right, because there's buildings and stuff by here. Got you. So it's just a simple, like, you can just go in, just land, and then there you go. Sorted. Right. Let's see if we can actually fast travel to it now, since I can't actually fly to it. Right, so it's showing me that I can go past Hogsmeade itself, which is great. I need to access the world map. There we go. Okay, I'll fast travel to it now. And then hopefully I can see some combat. So apparently the goblin encampment's over here. Like you say, like all this thing, like with the very colorful foliage, you can interact with the environment. And here's the thing as well. So dueling feats, catch and throw a disarmed weapon. This is just like little things for you to do to like kind of focus on during the combat, just to spice it up. So yeah, as you can see here, this is a level 2 side quest, but the enemies are level 20. Oh, actually, what I want to do as well, see if I can... Do I have it? I do. Right, so doing this means that I'm going to be stealth now. So I'm going to be able to stealth attack enemies. I only want to stealth attack one enemy because I just want to kind of show the combat in of itself. As you can see, just because you're invisible doesn't mean the enemies don't pick up on you. I guess they can kind of see like kind of the shimmer. So I can use that. Take that. Okay, so now I'm going to get out of this for purpose of getting to combat. So, combat started. There's only 2 enemies. I don't know exactly how much I can demonstrate here, but... So there's Protego. There's your basic countering system in this game, as you can see from the yellow circle on the top of your head. It's a very easy mechanic to use. Again, bear in mind I am playing this on hard. Oh, that time I got a bit cocky. So, you just basically, to do like a perfect parry, you gotta wait for the circle to completely fill up, and then you're going to do damage to the enemies once you've used it. There's also another system as well called Stupefy. So you hold triangle after a parry. So right now... So right now he's stunned, which means that he takes more damage. So that's the whole point of the Stupefy thing. There's also, as you can see, this L1, R1 symbol. Oh, there's a lot of range. I didn't think it was going to have range. L1, R1 system thing here to do some super moves. I will show you now. So I just held L1, R1. It's kind of like a super magic ability. It's almost always an insta-kill depending on the enemy and their level. So you've got the countering. You've got to be able to counter it like with this Protego and also the Stupefy. But there's also the dodge mechanic. So there's also that as well, where I can hold circle and I can dodge out of the way. So it's very God of War-esque in its combat, which is very weird. I wouldn't really expect that, you know, calling a Harry Potter game like influenced by God of War was anything. But yeah, so you got yellow moves, you got red moves, you counter the yellow moves, you dodge the red moves. It's basically your typical affair with that. The problem is, and why I say the combat is very easy, is I feel your defense options are way too strong. Like, as I said, the timing on this is crazy. If I have a look, so yellow... So I can press, as soon as I press yellow, I press triangle, and I just don't get hit. I don't get a perfect parry, so I don't do any damage, but I also don't take damage myself. So it's completely safe. Not only that, but if there was a red move here, I can hold circle, and I'm completely safe there. I'm completely, you know, out of the way of the enemies. I'm not taking any damage. You can spam this. Like, look, I'm spamming this. I'm not even taking any damage. It's really safe, the defense options, and this is why the combat in itself, I feel, is way too easy, is in regards to how safe the combat is in itself. Especially with, like, things like Stupefy as well, which helps that. And I'm doing that extra bit of damage, yeah. So, other parts of the combat, as you can see in the bottom right, there's different abilities that I can have. So, I can use, say... Oh, where'd you come from? Oh, I got stuck there. Okay, so I can do Accio. And then you can combo it with other spells like that. So I use the Confringo and Accio together. The idea of the combat here is really to try and keep them up in the air. Because if you keep them up in the air, it does more damage. The yellow numbers show that there's more damage being made here. And the idea, yeah, keep it up in the air. There's Expelliarmus, which is a lot of fun because you can do that. Grab the weapon in the air and then just fling it at them. That's a lot of fun. And then I also have a Levioso. I missed. You can also pick up things in the environment like that. Does a lot of damage oftentimes as well, and they'll be stunned, so it does more damage. Then use that. Yeah, some of the animations though are quite brutal, to be honest. Did you catch me there? Okay. So yeah, it's a whole part of comboing the weapons and trying to do as much damage to these enemies as possible, like that. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy the attack. The offensive of this is a lot of fun. As I said, the defense is more the problem with this game. It's why it's so... Why I say this game is so easy and why I feel that the game itself is something that you kind of need to play on hard. Because, like, even though I was making mistakes because I'm trying to commentate and I'm trying to show you these aspects of it, you know, I'm still not really getting punished because of the healing and... You know, again, my recovery and all things like that, it really doesn't do out of its way to punish you at all. And I think that's just down to the fact that the game is trying to go for a more generalized audience. And doing so, I think they felt that they needed to... I couldn't get him there. They needed to make the combat a lot easy in order to, like, make a broad range of audience members to kind of get into and enjoy. So it's, you know, you're not looking at kind of like a Dark Souls type scenario. You're not looking at a way where it's like, ah, screw it, you know, if you can't do it, you can't do it. There you go. Oh, and here's the thing as well, because that actually wasn't demonstrated. So you can see there's like these color circles. So the color circles you match based on the spell that you have. So it's a red circle, which means I use a red spell. It's that simple. It's a colors game. This whole thing is a colors game. Donk. The only, like, other times that I normally get hit, I would say, is that the marker itself is small. It's very small at times, and especially if you're in combat. So what it often means is that you're essentially, when you're fighting, you're just looking at your character's head to see the marker, which is the best way to ensure that you're not going to get hit. So there, I can't hit him because of the red orb, so I use a red spell. Well, I guess it quite back. There you go. I think I'll just stupefy him. There you go. So there you go. So that's basically the gist of the combat. Again, it's very was just trying to concentrate a little bit there.
Glad to hear that.
So it's very colors game. You try to look for the yellow marker, you press triangle. You see the red marker, you press circle. And then when the enemies have their bubble, depending on their color, you then want to use the corresponding spell for it. It's fun. Like I said, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun. And I think this is probably one of the best magic combat I've seen in a long while. Especially in regards to the Harry Potter games. This has nailed it in regards to the magic combat. The main issue again is that, again, I think the defense options are too strong. I think it doesn't, you know, punish you enough when you get hit. And it definitely means that you are, you know, I feel like it's a lot safer, the combat. Again, I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring before this, and I don't know if maybe that might have some contribution to it, but I really do feel that the combat's like quite easy. You may end up making mistakes if you kind of switch your brain off and you just keep spamming away and you're not really paying attention to the marker on your head. Yeah, sure, you can get hit, and I think it's normally about 2 hits on hard mode for it to affect you. I think the only change in the combat as well is just the... on hard mode, I think it's the Stupefy spell. So Stupefy is insanely strong on normal difficulty. It's an insanely strong ability to the point where you kind of feel like, why do I need to use like the normal counter when I can just use Stupefy all the time? Hard mode kind of makes it a little bit different, where it's like, well, no, you're gonna have to use some of the the perfect timing parries, mainly because that also clears the shields as well. So it's not just the color-coded spells, it's also the perfect parries also. I'd say might as well just go through some of these balloons, why not? There you go. So I got a challenge. Has that been completed? Yes, it has. Okay. Here's another system as well, is challenges. This is how you gain access to such things such as cosmetics, which is your main thing. And then over here, I got a police hat. Oh, that looks interesting. Halloween pumpkin mask. And then you also can get these traits as well to unlock. These aren't things to slot into the gear as far as I'm aware. These are just things that will get unlocked that will be activated on your gear as you progress through the game. As you get gear, you're more likely to have these generated onto the gear itself rather than having them slotted in. And there'll be certain things you have to do in order to do it. So, for example, here, I need to defeat 5 Dug Bogs in order to get the Amphibio Protection 1, which I assume is just I get extra protection when I'm against an amphibian creature. And then there's things here like the quests, get cosmetics from that. What have I got here? Oh, I got a new appearance, I think, for the broom. I got Merlin Trial, so this is the thing that I was on about, that in order to get more gear slots. And then the field guide pages here. So the more I collect of these, the more of the gears that I get. I'm towards the end of this one. This is for Hogsmeade. This is for Hogwarts. And this is just for the entire area in of itself, so you can get more upgrades for that. And then there's a room requirement one, but we haven't really done much of that. I've only just recently unlocked it. Let me just have a check on the gear then. This is unavailable. Why is it unavailable? Oh, it's because I'm flying. Let me get down then.
Who lived here, I wonder?
Didn't mean that. Let's press start. Go to quests. No, quest gear. There you go. Broom. Ah, I thought I was going to get a cosmetic. I don't think I did. I don't know. I have no idea what that's about. Let's have a look. This is better, even though it's green, but I do not like that hat, so I'm going to go back to wearing the swanky top hat. Yeah. That's pretty good. Look how amazing he looks. Look how intimidating he is. Oh yeah, one other thing to point out as well, the flying mount. I assume you can ride a hippogriff in this game at some point. Obviously, I haven't got far enough into the game to unlock that, but there might be a potential as well for flying, but at the moment I got the broom, and I'm pretty happy with the broom for now. Right. I guess we'll go over and we'll turn in this quest. As you can see, performance-wise, carrying on with this, performance is fine outside. I'm actually getting way less frame drops while walking around the world, which is very weird, considering the fact, again, like all the foliage. If you go in the Forbidden Forest, there's quite a lot of particle effects. You know, a lot of things are going on here, but my frames aren't really dipping that much, which is quite crazy.
I do miss the bustle of business. Poor customers, afraid.
Hello, Madam Beaumont.
So let's tell her
Good
that
news. I was able to clear out Ranrock's camps.
we're done.
You cleared them out. How?
So there's these dialogue options when you're talking to any character. And it's essentially, most of the time, it's just two options. It's either a dick answer or it's going to be a nice answer. I just surprised them. It was difficult, so
I managed to catch them off guard.
When my brother returns, this news will mean the world to him. You saved our hamlet, my young friend. This will not be forgotten. I fear for other hamlets, truly. Ranrock and his lot are unlike any goblins I've ever seen.
Cool. I won't bother with that for the time being.
I should be going now. Thank you.
So yeah, so you probably noticed there the facial animations.
Sincerely.
Now, one thing I would say, the facial animations I think are pretty good. I think both the facial animations and the voice acting is pretty stellar in this game. I haven't really encountered anybody that's had any poor voice acting performances. And I said the facial animations themselves are pretty good. The one thing that I find that's very weird is in regards to when they're talking. Very oftentimes when they finish their dialogue, the face always reverts to a more like neutral stance. So like, for example, a character will be smiling the entire time they're talking, and then all of a sudden their face will just drop. Like, it's just gone back to a neutral phase. It's just very off-putting. It's just, I've noticed it so much, and it puts me off every time, because like, again, you'll meet like a really happy character, they're very smiley and they're talking away, and then all of a sudden they're just like, meh, you know? But yeah, other than that, as I said, I think the facial animations are pretty damn good in this game. But yeah, the dialogue options is relatively simplistic. Again, you either get a good option or a bad option. What I found funny was, so the Slytherin character that I made was more testing that, the bad options, the bad dialogue. And what's funny is that the game really doesn't want you to do the bad options, because every time I was doing the bad dialogue, there was always the moment where it was like, are you sure you want to say this? Are you absolutely certain you want to say this to this character? And then you either have to confirm or basically go, yeah, no, I'm joking. So it is like the game is trying its best to be like, we kind of don't want you to be a dick around Hogwarts. We want you to be good. We'll have a little bit more of exploration of Hogwarts itself now that it's more daytime. We're showing you like kind of a bit more of the world. I'm trying to show like kind of as little as possible as well, because again, I do recommend this game. I do think this is something that you should really... Again, if you're a Harry Potter fan, I think this is a game for you to buy. I think this is a really fun Harry Potter game. As I said, I do enjoy a lot of aspects of it. Let's see, where... Grand Staircase... let's go Great Hall. No, not Great Hall. What would be the best place to start? Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll go for now. We'll go into the room requirements, because I'll show you a quick thing with it. So this is the room requirement. This is essentially your like hub-ish area. So this is where you can go if you want to, say, plant something. So I've planted these Dittany leaves, which can carry on growing. I can also brew potions if I desire, so long as I have the ingredients. I have these, so I'm going to start crafting these. And everything has kind of like a little time limit going on as well. So you can go off and do whatever you want and come back later to collect the things that you want to collect. Over here is the gear identity system. So this is also kind of along the lines of what you'd see from like a normal gear game. So right there, all the question mark gears that I had have now just been unlocked. Only one of them seems to have been good though, which was this one. So I get increased damage with Bombarder. Do I even have Bombarder? Oh, there's a weird glasses. Nah, give me back my nice lovely goggles. There's some others. For some reason, it's not actually showing me that I've gained new gear, which is a bit interesting. Normally, it will pop up the exclamation mark, but it hasn't here. One thing that would also be nice... Oh, yeah, there you go. So this is a little less. Increased damage dealt to cursed targets. Well, I don't use curse, so this is useless. Increased damage of all damage spells. That's quite good. I might actually equip that. even though that's a little less. That's actually a pretty decent one. But as you can see, it gives you like a full rundown of what you have in the gear system here, like the hats, the scarves and all that. I think it would just be nice to have a all gear system, so just to see everything, to be able to just click all and to be able to access all the gear that's in the game. Would just be nice. Not all the gear that's in the game, but all the gear that you have currently equipped on you. Would be nice to like kind of see all of that in of itself. That would have also been a nice feature to have. But yeah, this is what the room requirement is essentially for. It's to craft things. It's to find out what your gear is. This is really annoying. Doing this one at a time is annoying. And you can also just completely customize how the room looks. Let's see here. Let's go over to the go over to the spell selection. This is where you can just select all your variety of spells. This is all the spells in the game essentially. As you can see, these are locked off, but that's because I need to speak to the teacher in order to learn them. Learning spells, again, very simplistic. You do the challenges, and then when you do, you just do like this little mini game to unlock them. You don't really like learn it per se. It's one thing I'd say is a bit disappointing, especially with the classes. Classes are just more consistent of just watching a quick cutscene and then doing a QTE and that's it. There's not a whole lot of innovation for it, which is a shame because the teachers in the game are very well varied and all have great personalities. There's yet a teacher that I've encountered that I haven't actually enjoyed. And a real quick thing here, so this is all it is. I could just show you with the video. It's altering the furniture, moving the furniture, making them disappear if you want. And you're just customizing this room however you want. You can even change the ambience of the room if you head over to this guy.
I'd like to ask you about changing the room's ambience.
Of course. What sort of overall look most appeals to you?
Cool moonlit ambience, please.
I'd like the room to feel as if it's being lit by the moon.
Oh, sounds perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, so you can change that how you want. It's alright. It's kind of, I don't know, I find this a little bit pointless. It's not normally my thing. Like, the only reason I would ever use this is to craft, like, the potions and planting the plants and all things like that. I wouldn't really be bothering with anything else. But if this is your kind of thing, if this is the kind of thing you enjoy in regards to customizing your room and stuff, then by all means, that is there for you. So you get like a lot of like the nice paintings that also move about and all things like that. I think we need to just go down here. Room requirement disappears and reappears. That's a really nice bit of animation there. And yeah, then it can just start wandering around. Should be a little bit more lively now it's daytime. See if we can find like people wandering around Hogwarts. As I said, you've got like complete freedom to just move around however you want. You see like you got students just all about here. The only thing is, Hogwarts is alive, yet it isn't, is kind of the complaint that I have. You have students about, but like, look, you get a lot of this. What is this person doing? Are they talking to themselves? Are they just literally watching their back for no reason? What are you doing then? Like, obviously, this one's studying. These lot are talking. Very often, you'll get those little things there, these little forms of dialogue. Oftentimes, you get no dialogue at all. Like, I mean, these two are main characters. These two are characters that we know, and they're not even interacting with us. They're not saying hello. They're not saying anything, which I find is just a bit odd. Like even older games did this. You have characters go, "Oh, hi there," or anything like that, but nothing. It's like they barely acknowledge your existence. And even when you walk into a classroom like this teacher, look, he's looking at me. Are you going to say anything? Nope. Look away. Okay. Nothing at all. So no form of dialogue. And like I can walk around, I can, shoot things, I can mess around his room, and he's just not going to say anything. So it's a bit weird where it kind of feels like you're almost in this kind of void where it's essentially the game decides when you're relevant to the world rather than the world acknowledging your relevance from the get-go. You've got those occasions, going into any classroom and you get no acknowledgement from the AI whatsoever. And the only time you ever get any form of acknowledgement or any form of dialogue is when the game decides it. And, that's just a bit disheartening. I mean, again, I'm pretty sure older games have done this. Just a simple, dialogue. I'm not even asking for, full-on blown multi-script dialogue. I'm just expecting like just a simple, are you alright? Anything like that? Like anything at all? And as I said, you just get weird instances. Again, like AI characters will sometimes just be talking to themselves. There's some weird bugs. I saw a girl before eating a bit of invisible candy that she was shoving it through her cheeks, not through her mouth. She was just completely missing it. And yeah, you'll eventually as well get like these little events. So it's essentially like these little things that go on around the school where, you know, Peeves the ghost, who's like the prankster ghost, he pops up a lot. He messes with a lot of students. There'll be events around Hogwarts that tend to happen with other students, that they'll do something that will, you know, cause an event. Just before, I had something where these two kids had nicked an invisibility book from the restricted section, and he turned himself invisible. He dropped the book. His friend made the book invisible to find out that the guy who had it was actually written an essay about it, and now can't see the essay because it's invisible, which was quite funny. But again, it's so very few and far between that. Well, again, Hogwarts is expansive. It's great to explore. It's great to look into. But in regards to the students, to the AI, they're not always interacting with you. Look, I'm shooting at this kid. There's nothing. See? You gave me a little nod. Look how much I got to shoot him for him to have like any form of reaction. Now these two are not even reacting or anything. Like, it's just that kind of thing. I just wish there was like more interaction with it. Make the school more lively. Just gonna do this quick Alohomora spell. This is the lockpicking minigame, which is very weird. It's probably one of the weirdest lockpicking minigames I've ever seen. You basically spin around till the cogs start turning like that, and then same with this one. This one took me quite a bit to figure out. I really wasn't understanding this one. It's a very weird minigame for that. But yeah, so then I can explore this. So look, got a chest. And this one can be activated by using Leviosa. Here we go, field guide page. Access to the level. And then there's also the Revelio charm, which I haven't used because I can see like a lot of the stuff anyway. But yeah, Revelio is a very useful tool. It's basically like kind of your detective mode type of deal that a lot of games incorporate nowadays. Able to see the world around you. See, I can see like there's a chest down there. There's the mirror. I can see a key. You know, you can see all these sort of things. And there's even like a little ting sound. Oh, let's see if I can recreate. Was it not there? Or was it down here? Just here. It's very faint. Let's go over here.
Revelio.
Nope. Maybe over here. It's very faint. I don't know. I doubt it's even going to be picked up in the video. There's loading. Basically, that's the pages. It shows that there is something that you can reveal, and that's how you get like those collection pages. Most of the time, like you can go to a certain item or a statue like this. You press Revelio, and it will give you a page. And as I said, it just really helps in adding to it in regards to the exploration. And there's so many like nice little secrets as well. So obviously like you get things like this and it's very obvious, you know what the game's trying to do. But there are other times where there are secrets. You're like, oh, okay, that's very neat. Things like if I go over here, I believe it's over here. It's where the statue is. Yeah, there it is. So like head over here, press interact. Oh look, there's a hidden room here. There's loads of like little things here that's not straight away obvious, and it's just once again encouraging you to explore, have a look at everything, see if you can find little things. Like there was one where there was like this frog statue that ate me and sent me to a completely different room, which was a lot of fun. There's just a lot of nice little exploration for this. And one thing I think is really cool as well, I can definitely see this being like a more modern day Resident Evil mansion type of deal. I can see that there will be people who will be playing this game for a very long time, probably making multiple playthroughs, spending hours, hundreds of hours on this game, will probably end up knowing Hogwarts like the back of their hand, to know where everything is. Probably will never need to fast travel because they'll know exactly where they need to go. I can definitely see that being a case, and I think that's really cool, and it definitely adds to kind of the impact of very well-designed buildings. And I said, like, things like this, right? This isn't in Harry Potter at all. You never see this, but it's just a nice little detail to help, like, distinguish it. I can even do this to make it, like, move about. It just, you know, helps in making the game more distinguishable, makes Hogwarts more unique in this game and not make it like a flat-out copy as in the other things. But yeah, this is really most to talk about. Like, obviously as well, you can attend lessons, but I've already mentioned about how the lessons I think are a bit anticlimactic, not very massively well done. The story itself is fine. It's okay. There's no microtransactions in this game whatsoever, which is always a bonus. No microtransactions so far. I don't believe there's been any mention of microtransactions. But obviously, always a great thing to have a single-player game where we're not getting any microtransactions whatsoever. And also, as I said, the idea that it's just a game that we've been waiting for a long time. I'm very happy with it. I can't wait to play more of this, to explore Hogwarts, to really get my teeth into more of the quests and things like that, and to discover more magic. As I said, the game is a lot of fun. The only downside is, again, the performance. The performance is really bad. I highly advise to check out videos before you buy this, especially on PC, because there are very bad fluctuations in performance on all forms of graphics cards. Like, even the 40 series are somewhat struggling with it, which is ridiculous. But I do blame that on Denuvo, which is a horrible anti-cheat design that needs to be stopped being used. I mean, sure, you've got your game stopped for about a week from being cracked. Potentially. Most of the time it's cracked within the first 24 hours or so. But all that does is it makes the consumer suffer, because now we get a worse performing game because you have Denuvo. And it's also the case that developers do try to incorporate, you know, oh, don't worry, DLSS or FSR will help fix the issue. But no. Optimize your game, make them play better, and then these games will be more fun to play. Like, again, the upside is it is fun to play, and it can be. Poor performance games can be fun to play. Bloodborne is a massive example. It's a game that runs at 30 FPS, but it's still probably one of the most fun games I've ever played. As much as I am a very 60 FPS type of guy, and I do feel every game should be 60 FPS minimum, Bloodborne is still an incredibly fun game, and I would absolutely adore for that game to be updated. But yeah, overall, as I said, I highly recommend to play Hogwarts Legacy. It's a ton of fun. It's a brilliant RPG. It's very fun to explore the world and everything. Downsides are, again, performance is very unstable. You know, Hogwarts especially, you see, I'm getting a bit of dips here and there. Not full 60 at times, but it is at other points. Side quest galore, quests galore. The combat's a lot of fun, especially with the mix and match of the spells and using them together, as well as the fact you can unlock other spells and you can start learning and mix and match in them. And yeah, I would personally recommend Hogwarts Legacy. I think it's a fun game, and I'm really enjoying it, and as I said, I can't wait to stick out with it more. But yeah, that's been my look at Hogwarts Legacy. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Look at him. Absolutely dapper.